everyone. Welcome to State Champs Extra Point, along with our friends from Valley Sports. Extra Point is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Over 24 NAIA Division II level varsity sports at Lawrence Tech. If you have the dream of playing college athletics, even football, well, recruit yourself. You can find out more at ltuathletics.com. All right, guys, it's a critical point in the season. Big rivalry week for a lot of teams, including the Valley Sports Football Fridays game of the week. Lawrence Tech's Blue Devil Stadium will be the host as the 66th edition of arguably the greatest rivalry in the state of Michigan, perhaps the Midwest, perhaps the country. Detroit Catholic Central versus Brother Rice is the big one. We're going to talk about that matchup at the end of the show, but first we had plenty of big surprises in week 4. Let's bring in my two co-hosts, Sydney Cariel and Devin Gardner. Sydney, we are nearly halfway through the regular season.
That's so crazy to think about. We're nearly halfway through. And last week, talk about the upsets. I mean, a lot of surprises, that's what makes high school football fun. You never know what could happen. You know the saying, any given Sunday, how about any given Friday night? You never know. Devin, what did you think of last week?
You know, I'm kind of sad, right? It's like, why does football season go so fast? Why can't we just slow it down a bit? It's like, once it's gone, it takes forever to come back, and then what's here is just going so fast. I don't know what the issue is, but we're going to have to figure that out. Maybe have some spring football, you know, like down in the South.
Kind of like the Cass King football game. We want it to last forever.
Yeah,
why can't it just keep going?
It worked out so much.
That one I thought was never going to end.
And then, hey, but that game lasted 3 hours and 21 minutes.
Exactly.
I mean, we'll start right there and get into our takeaways from last week, sponsored by Figer Law. Devin, that game, Cass Tech and King. I got to point out, you guys are both wrong in your predictions. It's okay. It's all right.
I mean, conventional wisdom, you know.
Yeah, I was just going through the timeline. The conventional wisdom said it was Cass's turn. King said otherwise.
Just stick like me and don't make one, and then you can't be wrong. I'm just kidding. But Devin,
well, that's not showing any.
You're Sweden. You're Sweden.
My voice gets all high. We learned that last week. But Devin, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, it was an outstanding game, and just another adoration of the great rivalry. You could see the tempers flaring. It didn't go over the top, right? It got a little chippy. It didn't go over the top. What I took away was Cass rolled the dice. Cass rolled the dice with their young freshman, putting him up against the senior Jameel Croft, the best wide receiver on King's roster, and they made him pay.
Immediately.
I mean, that's the play I point to because, right, this 28-23, that big play is kind of what kind of broke the door open. And if that play doesn't happen, now you're thinking overtime, maybe, you know, guys, they're going to continue to try to score. But they rolled the dice, and when you gamble, sometimes, you know, you lose. It seemed like every single time a play needed to be made on third down or fourth down, Dante Moore would look and find Jameel Croft on the back shoulder or a curl or something like that. And when you have a young guy who's extremely talented, that's going to happen. I mean, it was so fun to watch. And in Cass Tech, how about them starting to battle back in the second half? They spot them 28 points, and in the second half held them scoreless. But that was fun. It was long. Yeah. It was fun. It was very fun.
Long. That's what I was going to point out. Yeah, Cass Tech scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. So that's got to give some type of good vibe for the team when they look at the film.
Well, and they will meet again.
Yes, they will.
No bones about it. They'll meet for the PSL championship.
You know, the thing about it for Cass, though, I mean, I don't know about playoff contention. I don't know if they're completely out. Maybe there's an inkling of a chance, but they can't lose again, right? They cannot lose again. And so, like you said, this past game, holding them scoreless in the second half and then scoring 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, they're going to have a lot of confidence going in that next game. They're going to have to get the quarterback situation figured out. They did 2 styles of quarterbacking in the game. They can't lose. Yeah, you can't lose anymore.
And he's right, because of the way the playoffs are formulated now, is a lot of it is strength of schedule. There's playoff points that and the PSL, unfortunately, is just so weak. Yeah. You don't get the points, so you've got to get those outside of that competition. So you're right, if they lose again, they need to beat King the next time.
They need to win all their games, beat King, and they need to find a way to schedule some big Division I program that's undefeated. Right. Yeah, get themselves in the playoffs, and maybe they can make a run.
A tough task for Cass Tech, but hey, who knows? They might be able to get it done and just stick with us here, and we'll keep following that.
That's right.
2009.
That's right, Inkster High School.
We found a way to beat Steubenville, get in those playoffs.
Like, Inkster High School? What's that?
What is Inkster High School? I don't know.
It doesn't exist
It's this mythical place that has a ton of talented basketball and football players. You know.
Yes.
Hey, any given Friday, you never know. But, you know, another big game we had last week, East Lansing beats DeWitt 36-30.
Yeah.
Laurne, crazy.
Yeah, no, great matchup. CAAC Blue Showdown. This was a real classic. East Lansing remains perfect on the season now, 4-0. The victory at home, third time in the last 5 years East Lansing has started 4-0. We don't talk a lot of East Lansing football, but we should. That's because we're just not seeing long runs yet, but we may start to see that. The program really now one of those, what do you call it, perennial powers, in their conference. And the game changer in this one, the sophomore Jace Clarizio. 6 minutes to go in the fourth. He ran in the go-ahead 27-yard score, then had the game-sealing interception with about 1:21 to go. Trojans have now put DeWitt 16 straight league titles that they've won, no matter which division they've been in jeopardy. And they did it with the big play. All 5 of East Lansing's touchdowns came on plays of 25 yards or greater. So getting it done, East Lansing takes on 2-2 Grand Blanc this weekend.
Where'd that come from? It seems like out of nowhere. I'm just living my life, and I don't know where East Lansing is really good. Were they always a school?
And in basketball, and of course the basketball team is also really good. So.
Yeah. And another note on DeWitt too. This is the first time DeWitt has lost back-to-back games in the same season since 2005.
Right.
So this week they're going to want to.
They've just been so good for so long. They're coming a little bit back down to earth. We're going to see how they respond. Again, I've seen a lot of grit and determination in DeWitt over the years, so we'll see how they bounce
Grit
back.
and DeWitt.
Credit East Lansing.
Grit and DeWitt.
Grit and DeWitt. Hashtag that maybe? We'll follow up on that this season. But another huge upset we had. The upset, man. And I was actually there at Wayne State. Brother Rice took down number 1 De La Salle in a thriller, 43-42. And my gosh, you guys, I was standing behind the end zone sweating for this team. I could only imagine how they were feeling. But Brother Rice, they come down, they score with under 2 minutes to go. It makes it 42-41. So, why don't we kick the PAT, tie it up, probably bring this in overtime? Nope. Coach K says, no, I didn't want to do that. They go for 2. Their first attempt actually stopped, but De La Salle gets a penalty. They stay alive, Brother Rice here. They have a second attempt. They get it in. Blake Maragi just punches that one in. They go up 43-42, and they make a big stop to get the game winner. And actually, Brother Rice's quarterback, Blake, he went 17 for 25 passing for 376 yards, 4 TDs, 1 rushing touchdown, and he scored that 2-point conversion.
It's a heck of a day.
He had incredible against arguably one of the best.
He Brady Drogosh. Yeah. Brady Drogosh.
He had a good game
too.
Yeah.
That's what you usually. And
he had a good game.
Yeah.
And all credit, Coach K gave credit to the entire offense. He said anything Blake threw up, the receivers brought down.
I love that they went for 2, though. And you're in this situation where this team, everybody thinks you're going to lose. This is the number 1 team, unquestioned number 1 team across all of the ranking type sites. Yep. You get in that position, you have to go win, right? I just don't see I don't see you going for the extra point and going in overtime. Go win the game now, and they got a second chance, but they got it done.
And looking at the score, they hadn't been able to really stop De La
No,
Salle.
and
you know what I mean?
Gosh, were you 2 in the headset when they made this decision?
No.
Because I did ask Coach K that after the game, and he said the same thing. He said, if we needed to win right there. If we didn't, then we would have had to stop them. And as you could tell, they put up 42 points. So, we weren't doing that great of a job stopping them either. So.
And they did get the stop inevitably.
Yeah.
But, again, a tie score makes it, again, if you're going into overtime and dealing with that stuff, it was going to really be heavily favored in the pilot.
Yeah, and a cool moment after the game as well, all of the guys running into the huddle, all the Brother Rice guys, they go, why not the boys on Losser? Why not us? So that was really cool. It was a lot of emotion there. That was awesome. Well, that'll bring us right into our top 20 rankings for this week, sponsored by ALTA Equipment Company. And we had a lot of a shake-up here since everything we just talked about. That's what we love. Halfway through the season, we love to see this. So at number 1, West Bloomfield.
I know they're happy.
Oh, yeah.
I know they're happy.
Oh, yeah.
We told you we're number 1. We told you.
I know.
As they're saying.
Yep, they're just
And you know who's unhappy? Number 2.
Yes, number 2. Belleville. Yeah, that's right. Belleville has moved up to number 2 after a 71-0 win. Wow,
you would think
dominating
they would be happy
fashion.
they moved up, but didn't move up enough in their eyes.
Yeah, probably. And then at number 3, we've got King. Number 4, De La Salle after that upset on Friday. And then number 5, Rochester Adams. So a lot of shake up there in our top 5. And on the screen, you can see all 20 of our rankings right here. Lorne, we'll start with you. Okay. Locked in Belleville at number 2.
Yep, no doubt the defending Division I state champs are not going anywhere. They are 4-0. They have scored 220 points through their first 4 games. Last week they blanked Wayne Memorial 71-0. That's not even their record. They beat Wayne 78-0 last year. That's crazy. Sophomore quarterback Bryce Underwood, real deal, putting on a show week after week. Head coach Jermaine Crowell has got his 80th win this season. He will get his 80th win. He's not quite there yet. He will get it after taking over the Tigers in 2015. So 80 wins for his program since 2015. Yeah. There's a good chance that Livonia Franklin, if things play the way I think they will, Franklin could also be undefeated when they meet about a month from now. And that will probably be their biggest challenge. We'll see. But other than that,
huge challenge.
Yeah. Other than that, though, Tigers just doing what they do and waiting for the playoffs.
Yeah, and so for a team to watch, we've got Grandville in Division I, who has hopped into the rankings at number 19. They sit 4-0. What do you think of this team?
Yes, the Bulldogs win 35-14 over Holland West Ottawa on homecoming night at a packed Bulldogs stadium. They love Grandville football. That earned 19 in our rankings. The freshman Jaden Tank Terry has been doing a little bit of everything for Grandville. They will now take on 4-0 Caledonia on Friday, so a big matchup for them. But good on Grandville, and I'm glad that they've made it into our top 20.
Yeah, and then, Devin, for you, a locked-in team we've got here, River Rouge. They're staying in the rankings at number 9. They moved up into the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't get games, and they're trying to play when they can. You know, we haven't seen them a whole bunch, but the times you've seen them, they've looked good. I know they're excited to be at 9 just because there's so many talented teams in the state. They'll get their quarterback back, Christian Johnson, at some point, but they don't know when. But they're playing good football, and I'm excited for River Rouge, especially after they lose Corey Parker, right? You lose such a staple in not only the school and the football program, but in the community, where he goes off to Toledo to be a coach in college, you know, which is his dream, and he's worked really hard at it. So you always wonder, like, what's going to happen with the program? Are they going to be able to? But they've done a very good job of kind of recapturing some of that fire that he brought.
Well, while River Rouge stays in the top 10, we've got Saline, who is trying to creep closer to the top 10 in this one, and they've moved up to number 12.
Yeah, they have a quarterback. And I talk about it ad nauseum sometimes. Like, if you get the quarterback position right, everything's all good. If you get the quarterback position right, it's all good. And then you start to put pieces around them, and that's what you have in Saline. CJ Carr, and I'm so excited to see him continue to develop just because I judge top quarterbacks, top athletes a little differently than other people. If you're a top quarterback, you should be able to pull that team along. Whatever team it is, I don't care, especially in your senior and junior season, I think that you should be able to pull the team along. And he's doing a very good job of that, and he's proven that he is one of the top quarterbacks, football players in America. So I'm happy to see that. And, Saline is moving on up.
Yeah.
It's a great program.
In the ranking.
Right. Committed to Notre Dame, and he's one of our Mr. Football candidates. We'll have to keep a lookout for that. And one other note on Saline, each season they haven't lost more than 2 games since the 2011 season when they went 4-5. So they're hoping to keep that streak alive.
Yeah, they always get a tough opponent right out of the gate in the playoffs in those districts. And if they can just get over that hump, we may see the Hornets make a long run. All right, guys, time for an update in our state champs Mr. Football race presented by Hungry Howies. First, put your hands together. Scott Bernstein sitting in for Sean Belesian this week. Scotty's doing so much for state champs behind the scenes, writing blogs, getting our rankings together. Of course, working on the Hungry Howies Mr. Football and Anvil races. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, man, thanks. I love talking about 2022 Mr. Football. It is such a tight race, so many playmakers. You know, it's going to be a real race to the finish, if you will.
As it is every year, but right now it's really interesting as we get into week 5 of the high school football season. This young man you're talking about today converted from wide receiver to a running back after a really good sophomore season, catching the ball. 31 scholarship offers, along with his high school quarterback. They are both avid fishermen, so I guess it's only fitting that both of them at the college level heading from Walled Lake to the land of 10,000 lakes.
Both going to Minnesota. Row the Boat Nation, Drew Vioto, the quarterback, but we're going to talk about Darius Taylor, the superstar running back. For my money, he's the front runner right now in Mr. Football, one of only a handful of guys in the state to already go over 1,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, 2 separate games where he had 6 trips into the end zone apiece. Beast mode, 24/7. I call him the D train. He is a runaway locomotive right now. Just so much. He's a tsunami of swagger, hurricane of hustle and flow. He checks every box. He runs with power, with speed, with vision. You mentioned the versatility. Just really impressed. I saw him as a sophomore as a slot receiver. He was only about 5'9", and he was great going across the middle. Obviously, he's got tremendous wheels. But in between the sophomore and junior year, he grew up, shot up in height, went to about 6'1", and they gave him the ball as their featured ball carrier last year. Had a breakout season, almost 2,000 yards rushing, almost 1,000 yards receiving. Just really came on like a freight train. That's why I call him the D train. And then this year it's just more of the same. First game of the season, 6 touchdowns. Last week, 6 touchdowns. I mean, most players, I would guess, on an average, don't have 6 touchdowns their whole career. Right. And he's done it twice in 2 games, and it's already, we're only in week 5.
I know. His style compared to others, maybe, that you've seen.
Well, he's a guy that, he's not a pure power runner, but he can go up in between the tackles. He's got, tremendous speed. He can beat you around edge. Like I said, I love the vision and how he runs. His cutbacks. He can hit a hole so fast. And then when you add the jet burners, when he gets in the open field, it's lights out. You're done. He's headed to the house, and it's just like a vapor coming behind him.
Right, and his versatility translates to the fact that maybe he's a 3-sport athlete. He's also a Division I state qualifying wrestler. He's also a track runner. He is going to enroll early at the University of Minnesota. Very interesting as far as an athlete when you compare our 2016 Mr. Football from Walled Lake Western, Mr. Cody White.
Yeah, well, Cody obviously had a great career at Michigan State. He's in the pros right now. He was just that prototypical deep threat. But the comparison I would make is that as human beings, as young men, as student athletes, they're very comparable, even though one was a wide receiver and one was a running back. Darius is a guy that is pushing, towards a 4.0 GPA in the classroom. He is just, whenever you talk to him, it's yes, sir, thank you, sir. I appreciate the love you're giving me, and just a guy that has a wealth of football knowledge, and it translates from the football field into the classroom, and just a knockout of a human being. And I think the sky is so bright for him at Minnesota. And I think we say a lot about kids that can, when rubber hits road in college and they reach campus, they can make an immediate impact. Sometimes that might be overstated, but with Darius, I think in the first year or two, you're going to see him really take the Big Ten by storm.
Thank you, Scott. And when it comes to voting in the State Champs Hungry Howies Mr. Football race, vote as much as you like at statechampsnetwork.com. We made it real easy. No more email needed to be put in. Just simply go there, vote for your guy, and we'll give you another update next week.
We're going to take a quick time out and check in with DMC's Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine for their Game Changers.
Hi, I'm Laura Ramus with DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine with today's Game Changers Pop Quiz. True or false? Immediately after you pull or strain a muscle, you should apply ice for 20 minutes. The answer is false. There is a lot of confusion surrounding the topic of whether to use ice or heat following a muscle injury. In the past 10 years, there has been no significant research that supports the use of ice for acute injury recovery. Applying ice to an injured tissue causes blood vessels near the injury to constrict and shut off the blood flow that brings the healing cells of inflammation. And therefore, applying ice to reduce swelling delays healing. Since applying ice to an injury has been shown to reduce pain, it is acceptable to cool an injured part for short periods of time soon after an injury occurs. You could apply the ice for up to 10 minutes, then remove it for 20 minutes, and then repeat the 10-minute ice application once or twice. For more sports performance tips, or to make an appointment with a DMC physical therapist or sports medicine physician, visit dmc.org/gamechangers.
Do you have a sports injury, or are you just looking to take your game to the next level? Then go where the pros go. DMC Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine. For immediate care, call 313-910-9328 or visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Okay, guys, without any further delay, let's get an update in the State Champs Anvil Award presented by Hungry Howies. Of course, to help us do that each and every week is the Hall of Fame coach Tim Beckler. And all right, guys, finally, we're making some changes into this conversation. And I want to put a caveat right out the beginning, kind of explain what we're doing here, because I know there's a lot of Amir Herring fans in this community and those who are paying attention to this particular race. But know this. We don't want to have more than a pair of guys from any one particular high school. To have 3 would be excessive when we're really trying to spread out the love here and trying to recognize who we feel is going to be the top linebacker or lineman in the state this year. So, while Amir Herring is going to fall out of the competition for now, Brandon Davis Swain is our leading vote getter, so he cannot be removed. Those are the rules. But we just could not wait any longer and get this other West Bloomfield Laker into the mix. It is a linebacker, and we don't have many linebackers in this race this season, which is a little unusual. But this guy has been bringing a little background, played at West Bloomfield his freshman year for that state championship team, went to IMG Academy, has come back for his last 2 seasons. I know that he is very interested in wanting to play in the Big Ten, somewhere in this region, felt it was going to be a lot better for him to do visits and all of that. We're talking about Kari Jackson, and this guy is a beast.
He really is. 6'2", 220. And what's so impressive when you watch the film is his quickness. Boy, does he move. You talk about bursts to the ball. I mean, he closes on people in a hurry. What's really impressive is this kid's a natural. The way he moves, that when he's moving forward, he's in a stance. He's got a base. His shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage. He has to run laterally sometimes to go a little faster. And he can do that and still be quick and still stay square to the line of scrimmage. And he knows when to turn and run to run the ball down. Then attacking blockers, wow. He really attacks blockers and just naturally just throws them off. He's a great shutter of blocks. And he's a great tackler too.
He hits like a freight train. Yeah, no question about it. Again, this race is open to all classes, so the fact that you don't have to be a senior to qualify or win this award. In fact, Dante Moore in our Mr. Football race was a junior last year and won Mr. Football. We're also making another change in the Anvil Award, and I know that Swartz Creek is 4-0, and Jacob Booth has done, I'm sure, everything he needs to, but he is going to come out of this race. He's only got about 5 votes right now, so we obviously want to see that improve if we can, but we are going to add an offensive lineman on the team, a Brighton team that is 4-0. And again, we don't always have to have the top D1 prospects, particularly in this race. It's whoever's playing the best, and that's what makes high school football great. This is a young man, Jack Story, who has played himself into this competition.
Absolutely. He's 6'5", 260. Not a huge road grader type, but I really like how he's sleek, moves very well, especially on combo blocks working up to the second level defenders. He's always got a wide base on him. He pulls well out on screens, on running plays. He just moves extremely well for a large kid. And he's always under control when he gets there too. He doesn't do flybys. He still keeps his base. And like all the other guys, he finishes with his legs. Very, very dominant. And he's probably going to play baseball and football at Hope College, which is a great choice.
And you know that college well, as your son has been playing his football.
Yes, it's a great place for him to go and for, to play under, Peter Sturzma. Great experience, great school. great decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, great football at the Division III level.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. And he gets an opportunity. He's a great baseball player too, so I'm sure you get an opportunity to see him this spring. He made some waves in the playoffs last season for Brighton. Okay, every week we end the show with our question of the week. And I'm always kind of racking my brain to kind of figure out what's one that we can get to that is pertinent. But I'm setting up a hypothetical here, a scenario, and I'm sure it is playing out for some people right now. Week 5, as we've talked about on this show, is a critical point to the season. So let's say your team is maybe not having the best jump out of the gate. They're 1-3, say at this point. Any loss could make a hope of a playoff berth virtually extinct. Win could be just the momentum you need to make a run. You're facing your biggest rival. It's rivalry week, so everything is elevated. The hype is out there on social media. There's talk going on both sides. The kids are invested and maybe a little distracted, quite frankly. How do you coach this week, especially your offense and defensive lines, who you know are critical to getting done what you need to get done? And let's even throw in the fact that maybe it's been years since your team has beaten your rival. So none of these kids have had a chance to experience a win. They only know defeat. How do you keep them grounded and inspired to perform in a game that, quite frankly, this might be one of the ones they remember forever?
Absolutely, and I call these the rubber hits the road games. You gotta have them. Now hopefully the coach treats every game of the season like it's a Super Bowl. I never was a big guy into saying, this game's special. We've really got to do this week, or, it's going to be tough. It should be like that every single week. So it's just another game, business as usual. But words don't win. I mean, you can give the best win for the Gipper speech, but once the ball's kicked off, you got to play well to win this game. And as far as the social media and the talking, again, I'm not a big Twitter guy.
No.
They need to be stone cold on that. And just, if they feel they need to tweet something, just say, see you on Friday. That's it, and forget about it. Because what you want to have happen, 7 o'clock Friday night, that's when you want them to erupt like volcanoes. Not before that, not earlier in the week, but you got to wait for that. And I also believe you don't focus on winning. You focus on the process goals that allow you to win. On Monday, I would, my staff and I would say, well, this is what has to happen. I'd write the offensive line up there and say, we need 300 yards rushing and 15 first downs. Defensive line, we need 5 tackles for loss, we need 2 sacks, and we need a fumble recovery. Defensive backs, we need 1 pick from you guys this week, and we need to win 70% of third down conversions. We got to get off the field. So then everything we do that week is preparing for those process goals to happen. And guess what? You make those process goals, winning just happens.
Yeah, there you go. Words don't win. Learn it, live it, love it. All right, congratulations to Jack and Carr for getting in the competition. We'll have another update next week.
Well, we've got another big week coming up here, and we're going to be at a ton of games, again, as always, our favorite part. So these are the games that State Champs will be at, and this is sponsored by Menard. So first up, we've got Thursday games, Denby at Renaissance, Detroit Old Redford versus Lincoln King Academy. And then on Friday, Allen Park at Woodhaven, Milford at Walled Lake Western, Mason at Hazlet. Then we got Jackson at Pinckney, West Bloomfield at Rochester Adams, which that is a top 5 matchup, so that'll be exciting to see. And as we know, Adams coming off a win over Lake Orion, and West Bloomfield also coming off a win over Clarkson. They just won 35-27, so that'll be a good matchup there. And now, Devin, we've got a big one. Dakota at Chippewa Valley. Both are 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, these are 2 teams that know each other well, very well. You don't know how well. The last 10 years, 12 Dakota won, 13 Dakota, 14 Dakota, 15 Dakota, and then 4 straight for Chippewa. And the last 2 years, Dakota has won. Dakota did what they were supposed to do against Sterling High Stevenson, and this is going to be their biggest test against Chippewa. As you know, Coach Scott Merchant was my first high school coach, and he's one of the best coaches in high school football. And I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves, but he always has his team ready to play when people count him out. And I think that they may be going to this game as the favorite, right? They played really, really good football. The one common opponent they have is Anchor Bay, Dakota, 31-7, and Chippewa 41-28. So take that for what it is. You know, every opponent is different, but that's the one common opponent they have, and you can see that they've dominated them. And so I'm really, really excited to see this Chippewa Valley, this next iteration of Chippewa Valley Dakota. They've been after each other for quite some time.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. And then we've got another matchup of two teams who are also 4-0, Brighton at Northville, Lorne.
That's right. Two teams 4-0. Who'd have thunk it? As we got into week 5, that both these teams would be undefeated just based on recent history. But we welcomed Brighton Bulldog offensive lineman Jack Story into the Anvil competition this week. Bulldogs, after advancing to the Division I state finals in 2019, just one playoff appearance over the last couple of years. But now 4-0 for the first time in 7 years on their 73-man roster. 73-man roster. That's a huge school. Just one guy plays both ways, and his name is Jake Gregorich. And so you got to give big props to him. Made big plays on both sides of the ball in their 41-6 win over Novi last week. And Colin McKiernan was back at quarterback. He was injured in week 1, so he's now back running the show. Brighton defense has only given up 33 points in total this season, so they're locking it down on the defensive end. Now, but look out. Northville, you heard me right. Northville, 4-0 for the first time.
You know, when I think Northville, I think of the place where everybody goes to train their children on the field, but I never see Northville's football team. But apparently they've been using it.
That's right. 4-0 for the first time since 2015. They've won just 3 games a season, just 3 games in 4 of the past 5 years. So I live in Northville. And so
you're excited.
The city is geeked for how well the Mustangs are playing right now. They are even stingier on defense in Brighton. They've only allowed 26 points total on the season, and 19 of those was scored last week by Canton when Northville won 28-19. Senior quarterback Luca Pryor was 6 of 8 for 147 yards, 3 touchdowns in the win. We've got a lot of love here at State Champs for both head coaches. So Matt Laddick at Northville and Brian Lemons at Brighton. Both Brighton and Northville now tied for first in the KLAA West. This matchup is going to set one of these teams apart.
I mean, that's good.
This is going to be a good one. And our boy Kevin, shout out to Kevin, he'll be there and in those locker rooms pregame, so we'll get to hear those pregame speeches. And of course, we're going to have a ton of other games from around the state, and you can catch that all on our social media. And then also some other notable games, just want to point them out. Yeah. Caledonia at Grandville. We talked about that one. And then we have Cleveland St. Ignatius at River Rouge. And Devin, we talked about this one a little bit. You played them.
Yeah, I did. I had to go there where they had field turf and didn't tell anybody. We're skating around. It's an ice rink. We wore our cleats, but good thing they're coming here in River Rouge. River Rouge might want to change theirs around. Put some AstroTurf down.
Give them a little surprise.
Put some AstroTurf down like they did me, and then they come in with their cleats and skate around. They'll get a dub for sure.
Yeah, those are all be good matchups, so be sure to stay tuned and watch all of our social media to catch all the updates.
All right, you know what time it is. It's time to hype up the Football Fridays Game of the Week on Bally Sports Extra, presented by Southeast Michigan Ford Dealers. And if you want to get hyped, go to statechampsnetwork.com. Go to our YouTube page. You can watch some of Devin's old high school days there.
That's really why you go. But you can go for other things too.
Like the documentary we did called Rivals, and it was Detroit Catholic Central versus Brother Rice. We did that several years ago, and if tells you everything you want to know about this rivalry. It's really detailed and really fun. Now, this used to be a super tight series, but CC has won 7 games in a row against Brother Rice. Now, CC leads the series 35 wins, 30 losses. There was one infamous tie that they had to back in the day. We talk about that in the documentary. Now, if you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said Catholic Central would have a clear advantage. That's just the way I saw things playing out. Well, Brother Rice pulling off the upset of the season last week changes that. They beat our number 1 team in the state, and they put up 43 points on the Pilots.
It's safe to say that Mr. Momentum has changed his address.
It sounds like it. So CC's only blemish was a loss to a very good Chippewa Valley team in week 1. So they beat UD Jesuit 22-6 last week. This game is always interesting, but now it is must-see TV.
Yeah. Brother Rice is coming in riding extremely high up in the sky.
And the question is, can CC actually beat Rice for an 8th straight time?
That's wild. That's domination.
2 generations that would not have beaten Catholic Central if they don't win.
Yeah, it is going to be crazy. And, you know, I talked about it earlier in the show with Brother Rice, speaking to Coach K after the game. And another thing he had pointed out is each week the offense has improved, putting more points on the board.
Right.
So,
And we don't know if their star running back Nolan Ray is coming back or not. Coach K was absolutely uncommittal when we talked to him on overtime last week.
Got to keep it right off balance.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I am pretty convinced if he's ready to go at all, he wants to play in that game, his final time against Catholic Center.
Yeah, and I mean, the Warriors junior quarterback Blake Maraghi and the tight end Henry Garrity, they had a connection going on there. Garrity caught 3 of Blake's touchdown passes, so maybe we'll have more of that. I don't know.
Should be a close game.
It's gonna be good, and it's gonna be super exciting.
All right, kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. at Lawrence Tech's Blue Devil Stadium. Watch the game live on Bally Sports Extra. And did you know there is actually an invention called radio?
Oh,
And-
yeah.
yes,
no way.
exactly.
You don't say.
It's actually in your car. You can, and there's actually something called AM. Believe it or not, if
Like
you,
the morning?
Yeah, if you tune to 760 at 7:30 tomorrow, you'll be able to hear.
So
the
760
game.
at 7:30?
7:30 p.m., 7:60 a.m. If you can't watch the game, you can listen to it live on
crazy.
WJR. So want to make sure that
crazy.
we throw that out there.
Wow.
So simulcasting aplenty happen. And then, of course, stay tuned as Justin Rose and myself will bring you an hour of highlights on Football Fridays Overtime powered by State Champs. So it is going to be a super exciting week, you guys. Rochester Adams, West Bloomfield, Catholic Central, Brother Rice, Grandville, and Caledonia. There are great matchups. I know there's a lot of homecomings that are also happening this week. I think the weather is going to be good.
Michigan football homecoming that I won't be able to go to.
And
I've actually never been. It's crazy. I always got something to do.
Wow.
Devastating.
Also,
I know, right?
in some parts of my
I mean, I went to the ones that were like when I was playing. Obviously,
Yeah,
but-
well, yeah.
that doesn't count.
I know. You don't get to experience
You
anything.
don't
You
get
got a
to,
job to
you're
do.
not, yeah.
You deserve a homecoming off.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
who do
saying.
we call? Who do we call to make that happen?
Whoa. I am not giving away my
Yeah.
money to go to homecoming.
Yeah.
Send me the videos.
Yes.
Send me the
So,
videos.
One other thing in overtime that I think is one of the best parts is we get to see those pregame speeches and hear from the coaches and players right after the game. So that's a really cool, unique thing that we got going
Yeah,
on.
and that also is simulcast on 760 WJR.
That
know?
mythical place
Yeah.
that you called the radio?
The radio.
Wow.
Kids, look
We're
it up.
bringing it
It's
back.
amazing. But also, just remember if you're not, if you don't have Bally Sports for whatever reason, you can watch the entire stream live on State Champs Network's YouTube page. Don't miss a thing.
So what you're saying, there's no excuse, right?
That's right.
Get to a screen
We didn't-
or
we didn't
a
start
knob.
We didn't start till 11 p.m. last time, so give us some credit. We're staying up trying to hook you guys up.
So you go
with-
watch.
with some highlights. So you can see something on Friday night. So, but good luck to all you out there. It's a critical point in the season. Wish you nothing but success.
State Champs Extra Point is powered by Lawrence Technological University. Visit L2athletics.com and recruit yourself. Extra Point is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud partner of the MHSAA. The Detroit Medical Center Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine Pros. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. ALTA Equipment Company, Michigan's #1 construction equipment provider with over 40 brands. Get the right equipment for your project every time. Hungry Howie's Pizza, famous for flavor. Feiger Law, nobody knows the law like we do. Menards, save big money on all your home improvement needs. And by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers, think Ford first.